Hi, you are watching Beauties Talking Business with your hosts, AnDrea Pettingill and JennyAHansen. If you have not yet joined our Facebook community, please hop on over to Facebook and look up Beauties Talking Business and join. Between AnDrea and I, we both have over 20 years experience combined in the beauty and service industry. You can find her at Shine with Drea and me at JennyAHansen all over the interwebs. But today we are thrilled and pleased to have a special guest with us. Her name is Katy Lambson. She's a very well-seasoned technician in the industry, and she is going to discuss with us how to handle difficult clients, confrontations, and really how to stand out in your industry.
Hello, everybody.
So stay tuned.
You're here watching Beauties Talking Business, and you can find us over at beautiestalkingbusiness.com. My name is JennyAHansen at JennyAHansen. I also have the site over at JennyAHansen.com. And we have a special guest today, and her name is Katy, and she's going to be introducing herself in one quick second, but let's take it on over to Drea and let her introduce herself as well.
Hello. My name is AnDrea Pettingill. I am the creator of ShineWithDrea.com. You can find me over there. I am a mentor to beauty professionals, and I also mentor my clients in the salon. I'm in the nail industry, been in the nail industry for 10 plus years. I love what I do. I love helping others, and I love collaborating with Jenny on Beauties Talking Business. And so today we are so excited to introduce you guys to our good friend, Katy Lambson. And I'm going to let her introduce herself, and then we're going to get into some fun topics to help you in your beauty business, and to just kind of like hear three different sides of very seasoned professionals in the industry, and so it'll help you with your business and creating more success and connecting better with your clients, which is really important, you guys, don't you think?
Yes.
So, Katy,
and I forgot to say that. I forgot to say that today's topic is all about standing out in your industry. So we're going to really dive into that. So yeah. Go for it.
Good morning, Beauties with Business. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to contribute. I hope what we've collaborated together will be helpful to you in standing out in the business with your own unique business. I wanted to kind of start off with talking about when you get a customer that's calling and maybe you don't have an opening, but you're trying to build a business, you want to stand out, right? So how do we address that so that we can leave a positive imprint and be unforgettable in a great way? And so,
Katy, real quick, why don't you tell people where they can find you if they want to follow you on social media or your website?
So I'm the owner of Sugar and Spice Nail Services. I've been in the industry for over 7 years. I have done student teaching as a student, and then I also have done student instructing post-graduation as a business owner. I've gotten to network with a lot of fantastic seasoned nail techs such as AnDrea and Jenny in the industry, who just heighten the experience and make it that much better. It's why we're passionate and what we love to do, and that's why we're here to share with you so that you can get to that as well, because we want you to succeed. I think that's about me. You can go follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Pinterest, all those goodies on Sugar and Spice Services. So just think Sugar and Spice and everything nice. That's me.
Yes,
so,
perfect. That's so good. Thanks.
Yeah, well, thank you.
So I totally want to dive into the topics that you're bringing up. So tell us what your first juicy tip is.
Yes.
Okay, so my first one is when you get a call and maybe you don't have an opening, how do you handle that situation? So this happens a lot, I think, in the industry, at least for me. It tends to be a weekend, and especially on a holiday week when you're already jam-packed. And so obviously if you can help them, you would. But in this case, you cannot help them instantly at the time and day that they want, which is usually in like 5 minutes. So what I would address from my experience is I want to focus on what I can do for them and when I can take care of them. Even though it might not be that first initiative time and day that they want, I can usually try to help them still. So I might say, I'm usually off at 7, but I can get you in at 8 o'clock if you'd like to take care of you. Or if that's not feasible, I would look at the very next day what I have opening. I can get you in first thing tomorrow morning at this time to this time. How does that work for you? Also, depending on the service, maybe flexibility there as well. Like I can do your manicure at this time and your pedicure at this time if you absolutely need it that day.
Yeah,
That's a really good point, Katie, because like when you're finding that it's like difficult to make it work, and then you go, oh wait, like I can always get you in twice in 1 week.
Yeah.
Like, so you find that it helps when the client has that, like, oh, I didn't know that was possible. I didn't know you would want to do that. And
Yeah, I mean, not ideal, obviously, for either because it is more troubling, but if it means that you can take care of them in the timeline that they need, that's kind of the bigger service there. So,
and it shows that you're willing to do something that might not be comfortable or might not be ideal for you, but it shows your client that you're willing to go the extra mile, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
it's like you're educating them on that too. Like you're saying, oh, well, I'm completely booked or I'm totally full here, but let's make this work. Let's make this happen. I'll do the same thing with like new clients, because then it's also letting them know, yeah, that you kind of need to plan ahead to get in, but that since they didn't know that you are also flexible and accommodating. That's a good one, Katie.
Yeah. And on that same note, I would say something to the effect of, let's say I've just booked them for 2 separate appointments or a day later than they originally were hoping for, but I'm going to take care of them. And I would just say, yeah, most weekdays, 2 to 3 days in advance is usually enough. You can text me, you can email me, and give them the avenues that are easy to reach me so that I can give them a real-time response faster than maybe. If I'm with a client, I'll educate them. I may be on the phone. I may not be able to get, pick up the phone, but if you text me, I can usually respond fairly quickly. On that same note, weekends, those usually book up about a week in advance because those are when everybody's off. It's really popular. So if you want to get that ideal spot, and this is also a good time to plug in, especially if you're a new nail tech, that if they want to have a standing appointment with you, since we're creatures of habit, if you want to make sure that you're taken care of every 2 weeks, I can give you that Monday at 10 a.m. and that's yours. Go. So then you're also showing them value in wanting them and taking care of them on a long-term going pace as well.
I have a question for you, Katie, and maybe Jenny too, because like whenever I go back and forth with having standing appointment clients, I do have some, and they do for the most part work out, but maybe some other nail techs might be having this issue. And so I want to bring it up is that sometimes like they have so many appointments in a row, but they mess up the one, and then you have to change all of them, and it like changes. It is so annoying to like go in and I don't know. So what do you do when it's like, it's, okay, so my point is like, I started being like, you can only book out like 4 or 5 at the max ahead of time for some people, instead of having like a just on repeat, because it always gets messed up and switched around.
Like would they change it or miss it sometimes?
When they change it or missed it, it changes the whole thing. So what do you do for that? Like
I just let them know that they need to let me know in advance as possible if something comes up, so that someone else can have that spot. But I'm a little bit different because I'm booked out like 2 to 3 weeks at a time. So and my clients know that. And it's, like Dre and I were talking about this earlier, some of those appointments could be family or other responsibilities, or, they don't need to know. And this is a good trick too for if you're new in the industry, to just not say like, you don't want to hear, oh yeah, I have nobody that day. The whole day is totally free. You want to say, I have a morning
or afternoon
or an afternoon. What works better for you? And then they say morning. You're like, okay, I have 10 a.m. Is that a good time? Because then you're not like, oh, I have nothing on my books.
I agree wholeheartedly with that. I had kind of half and half. Half of my clients were standing appointments, half of them were walk-ins or referrals, or I knew that they would come in every 2 weeks, but depending on their lifestyle, work, all that, they couldn't necessarily book something solid as well. I think, AnDrea, I like how you talked about, maybe don't book for the whole year or half a year or whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe do that for, I'll book everybody for a month for your standing appointment. I think it comes down to knowing your clients. Life happens as well. And so to some extent, being understanding of things are outside of their control. Sometimes things are outside of our control, and we appreciate it when they're understanding and work with us, but within reason as well. And if it continues to be a pattern, then, taking a new address on that as well. And,
right. Well, that's good. So what's your next topic? Or should we flow through all three of us? Topic, topic, topic. How do you guys want to do it?
I'm easy going, just whatever the vibe says.
Should we switch? Drea, do you want to throw out one of your topics, or because I kind of missed the planning at the beginning here?
You're good.
Or do you want Katie just to bust out all of hers? How do you want to go?
I think Katie's, yours all kind of flow together pretty well, and I
Okay.
different ones. So let's go back to your
Let's
next
go back to Katie. Okay.
The next topic I wanted to talk about is if you have an appointment and either they're late, whether it's ongoing or just a few times, and then also if there's an absolute no call, no show, how do you deal with that situation? Because your time is valuable as a professional. Mm-hmm. You're blocking out that time for them, and if they are coming later than that time, how to adjust and work with them on that. I think that kind of goes into even what we were just talking about, AnDrea and Jenny, with your standalone appointments. You could maybe incorporate this as well. But things to consider that I would address when you're talking to your client about this. I think one is when you have a new client, just let them know that your policies are for being late. Then it's out in the open, and there's already that expectation. They know and are aware of, any consequences or how that affects both your day and their day, kind of thing.
Yeah. Sorry, both of us were like, oh.
Go ahead. You were first, Jen.
Yeah. So you actually, when they're in your chair and it's your first encounter with that client, you go over your policies and your procedures during that appointment and just let them know?
I will do that along with a waiver and a get to know you form as kind of a color consultation, skin consultation, and a really looking for red flags of how I can help them to give them their service as well.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Jaya? What were you going to say?
So I was going to say, just for like the maybe newer nail tech that might have this like fear or limiting belief come up for them that they can't like be so forceful to a client that they're just like happy to have in their chair. They're like, I don't want to scare them away. So number one, would you advise to like wait until that's like kind of more of a regular client so that you don't have to deal with the fear of, I mean, I think it's debatable, but number two, like what advice would you give that person to have the confidence to speak up if they knew that needed to be said to that specific client? Because maybe you don't have to say it to every client, but maybe you need a certain boundary.
Yeah, see, I normally don't have that conversation until maybe it's a pattern or it's like becoming an issue. But I do also very casually kind of let them know a little bit about how I work and how it all works, but more in a not very, I don't know. I try to make things as, yeah.
I like how you brought up that to like set the rules, set it straight. Do you know what I mean?
Out of the gate.
From the get-go. I don't think it necessarily has to be a formal conversation. And in my consultation, it's just a part of the paperwork. They can ask questions if they have questions. And then if I wanted to add that into the conversation, maybe before they leave, if I'm asking if they'd like to rebook now so that they have that, preferred spot that they would enjoy, then I can accommodate them here and now. And then just as a reminder, always come I ask them to come 5 minutes early. That gives them time to pick out colors if they're changing their mind, or, if they have questions, and they have that little bit of extra time to look at stuff while I'm finishing up with another client.
That's a good idea. 5 minutes early.
That time, I might just say, now just a reminder, make sure to come early. If something comes up, if life happens, just let me know so that we can take care of that prior to your appointment. So I don't have to like necessarily lay down the law and give them all the pros and cons if they're late or whatever, but just to put it out there in like a real interpersonal way that is common sense. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I come across what I'm saying.
Yeah, because I mean, it's just like, this is the way I do business. What you're doing is you're setting up a respect for your own business, because I think a lot of times we're just like glad we have clients and we're like, oh my gosh, I'm just going to do what I can. But if you respect your business, you're teaching them to respect your business. And when you have the confidence to, or fake it till you make it, with the
you make it,
to just at least address or touch on, if you read through all this, I have my policy on this, this, and this, like, okay, we'll get started, just like put it out there that this is important and this is my business, this is my livelihood, and, it's important. And so it gives them, you're teaching, I think everything we're talking about today is you're always teaching your client how to treat you. You're always teaching them how to respect your business. You're always teaching them how to, be a good client so that you can be nail tech for them.
Yes, exactly. And sometimes if you're like maybe just starting out and you're working for a salon or you're working for somebody else, sometimes you think like, oh, they have all of that handled, but it is important that you still kind of take responsibility for your business and your clientele and not try to like shift any of that kind of responsibility onto like the front desk or anyone else because they have other things going on too. So to not be afraid to have those conversations.
If you give your power away to the salon, and we should talk about that, because we're all basically independent contractors here. We don't work for a company or a salon or anything else. We are the top of, like, we make our own rules. So just so you guys watching know that, like, this is what we're talking to, but adjust it to what your situation is. Yeah. And so what Jenny's saying is that if you are, deflecting responsibility onto the higher up business or company, you are teaching your client that they can walk all over you and go to the manager about stuff. Instead, why don't you take it on, right? Right? Jenny has more experience about this.
You're an owner. Own yourself. Own your business.
You're the one holding their hand. You're the one doing the service. You claim that respect.
And again, that's going to make you stand out in your industry because you're presenting yourself as someone that is confident and that can handle what's going on. And that's huge. Oh, yeah.
If I can add too, I know Jenny had talked about a perspective from being in a salon. For those that are in home, I know a lot of nail techs who have children and they're paying a babysitter to make sure that the experience of the customer is enhanced by no interruptions, by no children screaming and coming into the room and those kind of things. And that costs money, and time is money. And so, I personally, if I have a client that's going to be late on a regular basis that I've already talked to, they're aware that, I charge a fee because, and then they're also aware that that does take away from that hour that I've zoned out for them. If they're 15 minutes, I might have to book it a little bit more and work my hiney, which I can do because I'm a professional and I'll do that. But, they have to be aware that, they're influencing what's already been scheduled, the time allotted for them, and that I have time allotted for other clients, that I am a business and I'm running my services just to them, but to others, and how to minimize, and minimize the effect of their appointment, but maximize their appointment by being time and by being considerate, as I am considerate to them as well. And even if you don't have a babysitter, you're still, you have other things to do.
Right. And that's why I'll book my clients like kind of back to back, because then if someone's late, my next client shows up, then who I'm finishing up on, they are not maybe going to get that luxurious hand massage with the Reiki that they love. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And so then they are like, oh wait, if I'm on time, I get a little more attention.
And it's a visual sign too, and it's not an aggressive thing, but somebody else is here and it's their turn.
And then they see it. Mm-hmm. Yep. And they know I'm booked, and they know that people are coming, and they're like, oh, wait,
I know.
Your trick.
I'm so back to back. And when I'm
show them your schedule, I love that trick.
I know, my schedule is right. They can see it. And you know what I do? I have my schedule has self-care, time with my husband, church stuff. I have everything. And they don't know that those other appointments are not other clients, but they see how busy I am. Do you know what I mean?
Well, and that's true though. We have multiple hats that we wear, and that's a beauty of being a business owner.
You're respecting your life and yourself. You have so much to balance and to consider. But I was gonna say on with your clients, seeing your other clients come in, my clients know that so much so that now I'll get done. I'm getting a little bit faster with my services. So I'll be done. And then it'll be this 5-minute gap. And then my next client will walk in and they'll be like, oh, I'm sorry, am I late?
Yes.
They're worried. They're like, were you waiting on me? I'm sorry, was I late? And I'll be like, no, I actually got done early. Come on in.
Come on in.
I have trained them. Yeah.
That's so good. Well, what about your next topic, Katie?
Okay, so the last thing I wanted to kind of touch base on was child policies, because this can enhance or decrease the experience for your client. And so for me, everybody's different, and you'll have to some people allow children. That's totally up to them. If that's something that works for you and you can be balanced with that, that works for you. Mm-hmm. I've decided not to do it because I've tried it a few times and I've learned some hard lessons that I don't want others to have to learn. And so for me, it comes down to three things. It comes down to protecting the child, whether it's a baby or a toddler. There's things, there's chemicals, there's products, there are sharp objects, there are breakable objects in a salon that are really not meant for toddlers or babies. So I always focus on the reason I have this policy is for your child's protection. I don't think that most parents would argue wanting to protect their children if you address it in that manner. You know, and then also it comes down to my business, protecting my business as well. I don't want to have an incident with a child getting hurt. That protects my brand, and I don't want to have a disgruntled customer whose child got hurt. So that's protecting them and their child again. And then also the client experience. This was just as fundamental to me as protecting the child. If I have a mother who's got a child and they're trying to entertain that child, or the child's throwing a tantrum, or the baby's hungry, they're not enjoying a relaxing pedicure. They're not getting unplugged from the world like they need to and de-stressing. In fact, it's stressing them out probably more. And then that's going to affect poorly on my business as well, because that pedicure wasn't what it was intended to be or had the potential to be in its service level. And so for me, the reason I have a child policy is to enhance my client's experience, to protect their children from hazards and a situation that is not meant or set up for children, that was meant more for an adult experience, and then also to protect my business and brand so that I can offer and be that business that they deserve and give them the service that they need, that they deserve as well.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on that, Drea?
I was thinking, like, you could be, it's like Jenny and I are really big on, like, this is everything and then let it go. Like, so have a policy and then look at it objectively, like by, like, maybe you explain to the client, you know, this is going to give you your maximum experience in the salon. You're going to get the most benefit from relaxation, time to yourself, you know, salon therapy time, you know.
Recharge the batteries, don't drain them.
Letting them know all of those benefits, but then also, you know, you can tell them if your top priority is just that your nails are done and you're a busy mom and maybe you have to bring your kids and nothing else is gonna, like, all that's gonna happen and not all those fun, yummy things, but you just get your nails done. If that's your only priority, you know, bring your kids.
But that expectation, so they know, okay.
But just know that you're not getting, because
the full experience.
I have a client who has a handicapped child, and a new client just started coming in, but the past 2 times she's had to bring her with her. And I'm just grateful that she can come, and I'm just grateful that she can have that me time, even though she has to keep checking on her little girl and has to keep, you know, helping her out, put her in the stroller. We've kind of created a system, but so it's like this flexible, but this, like, just so she knows, you know, and we have like this communication with it, like, okay, you know, keep her in the stroller. Yeah, she might whine a little bit, and I have a private studio room, so it doesn't affect other client experiences. But yeah, so we have like ground rules, but she also knows at least she's getting her nails done. You know, it's like really valuing the customer by that's what she wants, that's why she's here. But then there's also there's so many variables to it that you got to know when to put the rules down. Because I've had kids mess up my salon. I've had them tip over the mirror and it came crashing down because it's just a propped up like 7-foot mirror. And like I've had some bad stuff happen in my salon. But
well, and I don't think there's anything wrong with having kids. I think it just depends on your style and your clients. I know some that do have like a children's play area. Like if you go to a restaurant and there's a play area, and that's great because it's an additional service for the kids so that they are having fun and entertained.
See, and I would never do that because it's like saying like, oh yeah, it's fine. But one thing I'll do is like on my menu, I'll put, like children's manicures and pedicures, and I have an age limit on the menu, which I actually need to make sure that I need to redo my menu. But I will normally put that on the menu, and then it kind of lets them know too, oh wait, there's kind of an age thing here. But it is kind of a case-by-case basis for me. Because I've had situations where maybe a mama who just had a baby and she still has a little newborn and they're in their little chair and they're sleeping the whole time.
Totally.
Fine.
Yeah. And I think there's situations.
But then there's times where I've had one lady who had several children, but she brought her husband with her and he kind of managed the kids. And then it was like a kind of a conversation of like, you know what, you just need to have your husband keep him at home so this can be your time. And she's like, yeah. And then she started making it her time,
Yeah.
and so they kind of see it.
How to like let themselves have that time.
Right.
Like
give them permission.
teach them to take care of themselves.
Yeah. But I do understand sometimes that sometimes it is unavoidable. And depending on the kid, sometimes children are a little bit, it depends on their mood, they're temperamental, just like animals. What's my cat
One thing you might do, Jenny, or the others might do is, as you get to know your client and their kids or their families a little bit more, the behavior levels. And there might be times where you're like, yeah, I get that this came up. Go ahead and bring them. I know that they'll behave well, that nothing's going to happen to interrupt anything.
Not a regular thing.
And then like with mine, I did kind of a similar thing. Mine was 3 and up, and it accompanied with an adult until like age 10.
Oh, see, mine's like 10 and older.
Yeah. So, because I get a lot of like little baby, it's their, 6-year-old birthday, and they are doing a princess pedicure or something. But I have that adult there to supervise them, so I can focus on being a nail tech and offering a service versus trying to babysit. That's not what my business is
about. Oh my gosh. Yeah, like trying to do a shellac manicure if like a mama has to pick up her baby is like
And then for me, after 10, I feel like they're semi-adult enough. They can be on their own. It's also for a comfort level for the children.
Right.
And then for protection so that something's not said that didn't happen.
And my whole environment is set up to be a very adult sanctuary vibe.
Same here.
And so they kind of get that a little bit. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah.
I do like the point, though, that you guys have both brought up about, I think sometimes women in general, whether you're a mother or not, sometimes we almost feel guilty taking time for ourselves, or, we're constantly giving to others, but sometimes we forget to give to ourselves. And that's one of the beautiful things about the service industry is giving that energy back to them, giving them, refilling their cup, so to speak, when batteries are on low. And so if we can help them realize that then it gives them more time to give to others again. Do you know what I mean? It's a beautiful little cycle and circle, and it applies to us as well, as we have that, like AnDrea, you were talking about all the different appointments that you have in your book. That is part of what allows us to balance ourselves and give that ultimate service that makes us stand out in this industry, because of that balance in all aspects of life. 100%. That allows us to pour 100% into our services and our clients. And then as we pour that into them, they can take that. It's a beautiful, rippling wave.
Because we just want to care for them in the best that we can.
Yeah.
So that is so fantastic. And I think that is like such a perfect place to like wrap up Katy's topics. So let's just close this up, and we're going to just like thank you so much for being here, Katy, but stay tuned because we are going to continue on with this conversation, and we're going to get into my topics and AnDrea's topics as well. Beautiful. So yeah, thank you so much. And you guys make sure you watch the next video. So bye.
Thank you so much.
Wasn't that just a fantastic interview with Katy's tips that were just so on point with what we need to know in the industry? So make sure that you catch part 2 of this episode. It's a 3-part episode. So catch part 2 over at beautiestalkingbusiness.com, and have a beautiful day.